Welcome back, Weeb family. I know, long time no see. And no, I have not slept yet, but Weeb Dad promised you those HD images and translations as soon as possible, and that's exactly what you're gonna get. Now, get ready for an electrifying showdown as we dive into chapter 250, the special grades domain revealed. Now, how does it work? The stakes are higher than ever as our MC duo continues the weekly jujutsu jumping of the King of Curses himself. Will they finally crack that hard exterior and get to the center of that Tootsie Sukuna pop? Maybe. We get some more details on what is, in my opinion, the strongest domain expansion in the verse, hands down. His all-encompassing, unequivocal love allows him to choose any one of his copy techniques to imbue the barrier with as the domain's sure hit effect. Now, think about that for a second. Even with Gege introducing a different anti-domain ability each arc, Yuta is able to choose any of his abilities to act as the sure hit. You literally have the Uno reverse card on standby the whole time. They're weak to this CT? Done. Oh, weak to this? Done. Etc. The only downside, and truly not even that big of one, is that the remaining copy techniques are scattered randomly among the katanas within his domain, and only Yuta can utilize them. But not even he knows which katana contains which curse technique until he grasps it for the first time. While each katana can only be used once, as we saw last week, after Yuta used Thin Icebreaker and the sword disintegrated, but their number is infinite. Only downside I see with this is if you keep grabbing the same technique, that happens to not be effective against your target, but with his speed and the amount of swords, he can just keep spamming CTs until he gets what he wants. Believe it or not though, there is even one more amazing feature about this domain, but we'll get into that later. Quick moment of silence for the fallen again. Stand proud. Your leaks were always strong and will be remembered. And a huge shout out to all these Chad and Chadettes. But anyway, thanks for ending our suffering and avoiding the ops. Right back into action, we see Rika could now be turned into multiple little homing missiles that not only attack the target, but also create an inviolable barrier on the path of his Shikigami in motion. Copied from Drew, the old guy Yuta low diff during his epic entrance into the Culling Games. While Sukuna is distracted with the barrage of Rika heads, and boy, I can't wait to see the memes with random people's faces flying all over at Sukuna. Just tag me when you create it, please. Our boy Yuji comes in and starts beating Megumi's soul back to life. And I love the art here. Gege perfectly captures Yuji's strikes, something that would have been a great addition to the anime during his fights, really accenting how his punches hit twice. Sukuna's body is left vibrating once again, showing us that his soul's control over Megumi's body is being knocked out of balance. And I'm still sticking to my Sukuna Yuji theory. If you know, you know. Our Queen Rika comes in from the top fucking rope, barely missing Sukuna with a ground-shattering punch, but just then, Sukuna's back is attacked as he states a technique applying an inviolable barrier to his Shikigami's path. So now, Yuta has an anti-get violated technique?
If it was a violation, personally, I wouldn't. And if you do, just have it in the G.
Yuta casually using his float quirk to get in front of Sukuna, while once again using, yep, you guessed it, Uro's technique. Nah, fuck it, at this point, it's Yuta's now. We see him manipulating the battlefield and pulling at the domain. I assume this is how he makes the changes to the barrier to select the target for the sure hit, but just a theory there. And also curious as to why there are certain techniques he can use without a blade in the domain. Could have been Gege just forgot to draw it out of his hand, or it could be the ones that Rika consumes. He's able to just use at will anywhere. That's what I'm going with, just so you guys know. Sukuna, back in full smirk mode, still starts giving us the much needed context we all appreciate, as he states, after my fight with the Magnificent One, not only can I still not use my domain, but my RCT is ass. And, at this point, my total cursed energy likely matches the cursed brat. Funny how to Sukuna being on par with the sorcerer boasting the third highest cursed energy reserves behind only the king himself and Ryu. Guys, sneak peek. More on best hair in the verse soon. Is somehow a huge neg. On top of all this, maintaining Hollow Wicker Basket renders me unable to use my reality cutting dismantle. And it takes a while to find out then, I'll tell you that right now. Before we get an answer, We cut over to the best panel of the chapter as Rika goes full fucking beast titan and launches the demon god right into the fray. Sukuna senses him coming but realizes Yuta is now in front of him also after using one of the coolest applications of his new curse technique, camouflaging himself as they strike Sukuna at the same time. But of course, Sukuna blocks them both, all while maintaining Hollow Wicker Basket. Yuji comes in with those strikes again though, putting our boy back on vibrate only mode. Yuji then locks in a nice little armbar. Sukuna lets us know what we all already knew. These attacks are similar to what was effective against Mahito. He can sense it though, he notices. Yuji is aiming directly for the barrier between my soul and Megumi's. He's awakening Megumi's soul that was submerged by the bath and Sukuna's actions against his sister's body, obviously. Yuji is disrupting that harmony between the body and Sukuna himself. And in another amazing utilization of Yuji's ability, every time he lands a blow on Sukuna, it is also decreasing his cursed energy output and the control that he has over Megumi's body. They will just keep chipping away until I can no longer maintain Hollow Wicker Basket, he thinks. If they are able to do that, it'll allow them to finally use Angel's curse technique, Jacob's Ladder, to eradicate the cursed object within Megumi, aka that superpowered finger he force-fed him. Sukuna, using his cleave saws as defensive measures, he is able to catch Yuta's blade and backhands him away, so that he can get a grip on Yuji and turn him back into a tic-tac-toe game again. But just before the slashes land, much to the surprise of Sukuna, Yuta uses Unumaki's curse speech and yells out, "Don't move!" Yuta then immediately grabs another sword and hits Sukuna with... Which CT is gonna be this time? Yeah, it's fucking Earls again. No, it's Yuta. I don't even care anymore. Jesus Christ. Yes, it's Thin Icebreaker again. But honestly, one of the most amazing panels to behold is Gege literally has Yuta breaking the fourth wall with his attack. We see the actual manga panel shattering from this. Just brilliant, literally. Sukuna goes flying through some pillars just to be met with Rika's giant-ass right hand. Sukuna, though, of course, is able to block the attack and mitigate the damage, all while still maintaining his basket of wicker. Rika then decides to come down with that double hammerfish, smashing Sukuna and everything around him. In the meantime, our MC duo is booking it. They're fast as fuck, boy. Flying right towards Sukuna so they can get in on that jumping. But just then, in what is another amazing out-of-the-box use of the panel, Gege beautifully shows Sukuna setting up a huge cleave for our duo. And yes, it does look like it was inspired from the anime, and a little bit from Gojo's Hollow Purple, but Gege probably just likes Spider-Man. Just saying, bro. Our duo is hit dead on with those slashes. Rika comes in trying to help, but Sukuna says, "Nope!" Kicks that bitch right in the face. Rika keeps going, however, as Sukuna catches her punch and slashes her hand up. Then, in probably the most unexpected panels, you guys weren't surprised at all. You guys knew what was up. We see Sukuna remembering that super long fight with Best Hair in the Verse Ryu, as he states, "If I don't make direct contact, I won't leave a fatal wound," just as it was with him. Pause. What the fuck? Okay. Although I wouldn't say they surpass him in toughness, which I'm sure you're all like me right now thinking, did we all see a different fight? Were we reading a different manga? Pretty sure Sukuna went through him, making him look softer than Charmin. But hopefully we'll get more on this interaction in the future and find out, I guess, if Ryu's still alive, because definitely what Sukuna seems to be insinuating here. Sukuna, though, continues dropping all the contacts for us. So you gotta love when the villain's monologues are actually super useful. He realizes it's not just because of his fight with Gojo leaving him weaker than usual. It's actually that all of the sorcerers that have shown up from Jump Your Ass High have extremely upgraded their defense. Touched on this before, but I mean, obviously it's that important that he's bringing this shit up again. So we gotta take note of that. And then there's the Brat's reverse curse technique. Not to mention this domain itself. Its sure hit effect is applied only to myself. He wonders if Yuta was capable of doing this from the jump, as something like this requires a very sophisticated technique. And right on schedule, Sukuna dropping all that praise for every single person he fights. Aside from the dude literally beating his soul from his body. But Sukuna asks the question, though, that we have all been asking for months. Just what were you all up to this past month? Our boy Yuji gives the classic MC Deku answer: hard work and determination of a hero. Yuta, though, quickly interrupts him and states, "We cheated." Like, what the fuck? Yuji's like, "Oh?" Sukuna's like, "Oh. Gambare, gambare." Really wanted them to elaborate more on that, as I feel that line is a huge deal. Huge foreshadowing right there. If you want me to break down why and how it could have molded this whole fight, then let me know in the comments. Be happy to break it down for you guys. Yuta then goes in trying to give all the Gojo fans a little pick-me-up. Lets them know that if not for beating Sukuna down the way he did, even with their RCT at max, they would have all been wiped out instantly. Yeah, we know. Yuji states, "It pains me to admit it, but we are up against the strongest sorcerer right now." Right now? Yuji. Ever, bro. Not now. I don't even want to think what will happen if we can't stop him here. He'll rule the world with 4 iron fists and 2 mouths. The end. The Jump Gang gets right back to business. Yuta grabs a new sword to attack Sukuna and states, "The ink is already dry?" We see Yuta dodge and punch the ugly right off of Sukuna's face. As Sukuna states, "Was that clairvoyance?" Yes, Sukuna, it was. Like, quit acting like you don't fucking know everything. Jesus, dude. Praise, praise, praise. Give me fucking praise. Praise. Fuck you. Then get a quick panel of the manga goat himself, Charles, watching the fight on CrowTube. And he's watching on the Weeb Family channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Bam! Got him. I touched on my spoiler video, was a little bit confused as to how Yuta got his ability, but I guess this means that dude's just been kicking it the whole time. Let me know in the comments. Maybe I missed an interaction between them. Or Yuji, though, goes full demon mode, no pupils, and finally fulfills his dream from season 1. He puts his palms together, hitting Sukuna with his best version of... And I fucking love it. Sukuna again using his instant information transmission curse technique as he breaks down what CTs Yuta has utilized. 1. The Angel's Jacob's Ladder. 2. Space manipulation. 3. The inviolable barrier on the path of his Shikigami. 4. Cursed speech. And 5. Clairvoyance. 6. Limitless? Question mark? No, he reassures himself. That should be impossible to do without the 6 eyes. Right? So has he played all his cards? Well, the quick answer, hell no. And Yuta has clearly copied that instant information transmission CT as he lets Yuji know that even Sukuna will be caught off guard by a CT he hasn't seen used. Which, in summary, means that this sword right here will surely work. As he launches it at Sukuna mixed with space bending to camo the sword, Sukuna sees right through it though and catches the blade with his handsaws again. But just as he thought he avoided it, Yuta yells out, "Cleave!" We then see small cuts forming on Sukuna's face as we go to the closing panel. This is my editor note, bitten by his own fangs. And the last panel, we see those cuts starting to bleed even more. Man, what an amazing chapter. Top to bottom, the art, action, storytelling. Honestly, first 10 out of 10 chapter of the year for sure, hands down. What do you guys think Gege has in store for us next week? And as much as I can't wait to see the end of this fight, I have that sneaky feeling creeping up that next week we won't see but maybe one panel of these 3. Now, I hope I'm wrong, but I think we get right into the flashback finally of that mysterious month, and we see exactly how our gang cheated their way to the peak of Jujutsu, and honestly, I think I know exactly what he means by that. Quick little breakdown of that theory. Yuji's soul swapping not only allows him to use each other's bodies, but also their CTs. So once Yuji and Yuta swapped, Yuji was able to use a copy. Then proceeded to jump inside Shoko for RCT, Chozo for the blood manipulation, and so on. I've been Weeb Dad, you've been absolutely amazing, and remember, even sorcerers with slashes all over their face can flex mad riz. Peace! And where do you think you're going? Get your ass back here and subscribe.